It is 8 races to go until the regular season ends in the 2025 Wawa Cup Series. And this race right here is the shortest track remaining on the regular season schedule and on the entire circuit as well. We are back on the short track a week before the Coke 600 and a day before Indy 250 qualifying. We'll get to that tomorrow because tonight it's race 15 of the season in the 2025 Wawa Cup Series. We're here at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. It's the Brandt 400, 100 laps around the 0.625 mile speedway in western North Carolina. And we're bringing back that same tire that we had last year, so it's going to be a tire strategy race here tonight, and it's going to be a fun one here in the Wawa Cup Series. Hello everybody, this is AG here and welcome to the North Wilkesboro Speedway here in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. We are here for the 15th race of the season in the 2025 Wawa Cup Series. Only 8 races remain until the chase cutoff, and last week's race at Kansas made things very interesting going into this race here today in terms of that championship battle. Last week's winner, Daniel Paulus Jr., getting the job done, is still not in a wild card position. He's 1 point behind the wild card coming into this one, but he has a 9th place starting position here today, looking to get another solid run and maybe even another win here in this 2025 season. Join alongside his team owner, Matt Tuck, for the call of tonight's race. And Matt, we had a great race last week at the Kansas Speedway. We're back on the short track, and we tend to see different drivers run well on these short tracks in comparison to the speedways. So for those guys that are on the bump of the chase, what they need to do in this one here today to have a good run and give themselves a better opportunity and making the chase once we get to it in about 6 weeks.
Well, I mean, obviously it should be a lot of fun. I mean, I will say, you say that we see a lot of different guys here on the short tracks, but, I mean, the top 5 starters all finished in the top 10 last week at Kansas, and then if you go down to row number 5, I mean, that's 2 other guys, last week's winner and Matthew Huber, who had a strong car. Andrew Miller's right behind Huber, so I think we're at a point in the season. You are definitely going to see guys who are short track aces. I mean, Nicholas Samadillo finally having a good qualifying run. But I also think we're also at the point in the season where we're really starting to see these elite drivers rise to the challenge here late on or as the season picks up. So it should be a lot of fun here tonight. Obviously, stakes are very high this week heading into the Coke 600 next week. So it should be a lot of fun.
And it's going to be a fun one. And, of course, we mentioned the tire degradation here is very significant. Almost 4 seconds of fall off here on a track of this size. And last year, Nicholas Samadillo used that to his advantage. We had a caution about 25 laps into the race. Some of the guys came down to pit lane, others did not. Once we got to the end of the race, the strategy worked out in the favor of the guys who came down the pit lane, including Nicholas Samadillo, who passed many cars in the field to get his first and so far only win in the Wawa Cup Series. He starts 7th here tonight. But the pole sitter is Jack Hodson, number 39, runner-up the past 2 weeks of both Texas and Kansas. And take a look here at the point standings coming into this race. He is in that first wild card position right now, trying to find his way further up into the top 10 in points as well. He is 17 points behind the cutoff and, of course, leading that wild card. And he's got an opportunity getting his 2nd win of the season here today as well. Of course, he's a pretty good driver on the short tracks. His 2 wins in the Wawa Cup Series have come on short tracks at Phoenix and Martinsville. But it's still Travis Cramplin who's holding on to a pretty significant lead in the points. He's got 89 points on the cutoff. Ludovic Schredt as well has had a great season. She starts outside pole, 63 points ahead of the cutoff for her. Laura Chung's had a great season as well in the 20 machine, though she doesn't have the best starting position either. Both Crampton and Chung start midway through the field in that inside lane. We'll see how that affects them here tonight. And then Alex Vitale, this is a guy who we really haven't talked about too much in terms of these race wins, but he's just found himself in a rather comfortable position, 4th in points, 31 points ahead, though he does not have a good starting position here tonight, all the way deep in the field on the outside lane, so we'll see how that ends up swinging. And then you get to Logan Williams. It's only 12 points ahead for Logan Williams, 8 points ahead for Tanner Parton. Tanner Parton starts dead last here tonight, did not have a good run in qualifying last night. Isaac Nichols only 6 points ahead, and then it's a 3-way tie between Bryce Egan, Blaine Keys, and Duncan Ward. And I didn't order that correctly there. Duncan Ward's actually ahead of Bryce Egan and Blaine Keys officially because he does have a race victory, while Egan and Keys do not. But they're all 5 points ahead of Avery Alford coming into this one. And Avery Alford, on the outside looking in, has had a good season in that 13 machine, but he also does not have a good starting position for tonight's race, so we'll end up seeing how that works out for him as this race goes along. But then you have Kirsten Bell. You have Jack Haas, Andrew Miller starting top 12 in this race. Daniel Paulus Jr. is up there as well. All those guys looking to point their way in to the top 10 and not have to fall on the wild card. They got a good opportunity at finding themselves in a better position points-wise at the end of the night. That wild card race is very tight, but of course it's a very dynamic points battle because you can have guys who fall outside the top 10 and end up joining the wild card, but right now Jack Haas and Andrew Miller hold on to it with Paulus only 1 point behind it. Nathan Smith is 18 points behind, Thomas Troxel 29 behind, and then Brian Webb and Drew Webb a little ways behind. They're well over a race win worth of points of the wild card. Going to take a lot for them to have an opportunity. But we'll see how it all goes down here tonight with Jack Haas in the number 39, starting on the pole position, his first pole of the year here in the Wawa Cup Series alongside Ludovic Schret on that outside pole. Kirsten Bell has not gone the victory lane yet this season to the inside of Duncan Ward there in row number 2. Logan Williams and Isaac Nichols make up row number 3. Nicholas Sambadio, defending winner here in North Wilkesboro, finished dead last week at Kansas after the oil leak. He's going to be starting 7th to the inside of Brain Perez, trying to rebound, trying to have some slimmer of hope to make this chase. Daniel Paulus Jr. and Matthew Hubert round out the top 10. Shout out to Haley Anderson Jr., the uncharted driver for Pacific Racing, starting 11th alongside Andrew Miller. And there's Troxel, winner 2 weeks ago, two-time winner this season, that kind of fell back a little bit in that Kansas race. He starts 13th to the inside of Bruno Diacomo. And Matt, it's a very interesting racetrack here at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. Before we get these guys to roll off, what are you expecting and who are you expecting to go to victory lane in this Brandt 400 here tonight?
Well, I mean, we're gonna see tire deg is gonna matter. We're gonna see your pit stop is gonna be crucial. We also do know, I mean, you can see some accidents here at North Wilkesboro, so I think the winner is gonna come here from the top 10. And I'm not gonna go Sam Adil. I'm gonna go his teammate though, Logan Williams. Had a very fast car at Phoenix earlier this year. He always does well on these kind of irregular style racetracks, and look for him to have a shot to go to victory lane here late in the going.
We'll see what Logan Williams can do starting from the 5th position, and he's trying to make the chase for the first time in his career, and he's in the best position right now to do that as we move on throughout these last 8 races. Let's go ahead and get these drivers to roll off here in the Brandt 400 at North Wilkesboro Speedway. And of course, to your point, this is a bit of an irregular racetrack. We're built on a hill right here, so we're going uphill on one straightaway, downhill on the other. I can't remember which one is which, though. You might remember, Matt. Do you remember?
I think it's 3 and 4 is down the hill. I think it's 3 and 4 is facing down the hill, if I remember correctly. I think.
Regardless of the fact, that does come into effect a little bit and creates for some interesting races. These guys will slide off the exit of the corners throughout the night, especially early on in the run, but once we get those tires to wear out, these guys are going to be going much slower, and it's all going to be about saving those tires and having the speed in those tires when it matters most. And we may see a green flag cycle of pit stops as well. Here we go. Jack Haas and Ludovic Schret, short track racing on a Friday night here in the Wawa Cup Series at North Wilkesboro. And it will be the 39 of Jack Haas leading lap number 1 here in the Brandt 400. That's a bonus point towards the championship for him right there on top of the one he got for winning the pole. And every point matters as he's in that wildcard race. Kirsten Bell trying to get to the inside of Ludovic Schret. You got Logan Williams to the inside of Duncan Ward. These guys kind of gridlock. You do have some 3 wide. Hubert got shuffled out of line as Troxel and Miller go to the inside of the 15 machine. Nathan Smith also trying to gain some speed in there. Still 3 wide back in there as Kirsten Bell will take second away from Ludovic, and Logan Williams trying to utilize the inside lane. But Jack Haas has pulled away on this 39 machine here on lap number 3.
Jack Haas has honestly, Jack Haas has been one of the most impressive drivers the past few weeks. First at Texas, second at Kansas. I mean, run it back 3 podiums in a row. here on the line tonight. Charrette's going to settle down into third. The ERR car is looking strong. The Appalachia teammates look really strong here early in the going. They're moving their way through the field. Daniel Paulus is following Sam Medeo. Haley Anderson Jr. is moving her way up. Thomas Troxel actually didn't get a great qualifying start, all things considered. He's moving up quickly, and so is Nathan Smith. So we got some guys who I think can contend for this win moving up here early.
And one guy we failed to mention at the top of the show was Blaine Keys, who started 30th for this race, and he is still deep in the field. And, you know, we were talking about Sam Medeo having an opportunity at maybe missing, as Philip Torres has got put on the wall by his teammate. Oh boy. That was ahead of Blaine right there, but they're going to keep it together for now. But that could have been a massive moment on that racetrack if that ended up being a wreck right there. But Blaine is not in a good position at all, and neither is Tanner Parton. Those are two guys who are right there on the bubble, just inside the chase, who, if they keep in those positions as this race rolls along, they're going to be looking outside going into the Coke 600 next week, and I know that is not what those drivers want, especially Blaine Keys. And Matt, I know it seems strange to say it, but we could be looking at Blaine Keys missing the chase at this rate.
I mean, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't jump the gun that far yet. I mean, we know that we've got some speedways coming up, as we saw last week at Kansas. I think we're in for an unbelievable race. On this race tonight, I think will be pretty good, but tune into your seats next week for the Coke 600.
That's gonna be fun.
That's gonna be insane. I think Keys is in a good spot. I know he's not. He's gotten screwed over a few times, and he's obviously in a kind of precarious spot 5 above the bubble, but he's in a better spot than, say, his teammate Thomas Troxel is, who's 29 points behind the wild card. So, you know, but this is not it's not a good run for him here tonight.
Yeah, we'll see if he can find his way up front as this race goes along. Maybe he saves the tires a lot better as we get later on in the run, and I think that's going to be a key factor in this race tonight, is tire conservation. So maybe you're not running fast right now, but if you save your tires up for later on in the race, you're going to have a good opportunity. And Angel Gutierrez almost got taken out by Laura Chung through the corner, and we still get that beating and banging that we get on these short tracks right here that makes this race very unique. You never know when a possible caution could happen here on this racetrack. Laura Chung almost caused one there with the 36 machine. And Laura's down in 18th, and you know, she's had a good season, still a solid run altogether, but not necessarily what she wanted, especially after winning her last short track at Bristol. Travis Crampton is 16th right now as our points leader. He's had a lot of races like this as of late, and you know, he's probably going to make the chase. I think it's pretty safe to say that at this point for the 98 machine, but you got to get that momentum and keep that momentum through those last 10 races of the season if you're going to have a shot at the championship. And Crampton hasn't been up to par with some of these other guys, like Jack Haas, like Ludovic Charette, like Daniel Paulus Jr. They've been up front in a lot of these races. They're all top 10 right now. And we'll have to see how they end up finishing as this race goes along. Great run for Nicholas Samedeo on this 59. Winner of this race last year. He needs a good run after what happened to him last week at Kansas. 21st in the points and quite a ways behind that cutoff. And he has to get a win in order to even have a shot at the wild card, and this is the only place he has won before in the Wawa Cup Series.
Think about what you just said and how ridiculous of a statement that sounds on paper for a guy who's top 3 or is currently the winningest driver on the channel, or is it Fitzwater?
Yeah, he's 31 wins. Though Fitzwater got one last night, he's still ahead of Fitzy in that regard. Blaine's now officially all by himself in third at 29. But yeah, Sam Medeo is definitely a guy. And not only that, I think you're about to say, Sam Medeo has finished top 3 in points in both Wawa Cup Series and Turkey Hill Truck Series seasons with this ratings format. He's got a couple more wins over in the trucks. But in the Wawa Cup Series, only the one win, though he did win the Winter Showdown at IRP last year, a very similar racetrack to this one. This is a difficult place to make a pass, as we have seen, but as we move on throughout the run, the tire conservation is going to be a huge factor. Paul is trying to look low on Sam Medeo right there, but not enough momentum. How about Haley Anderson Jr. in 9th? This is an uncharted driver driving for Pacific Racing in the 9th position. And keep in mind, where Blaine Keys, who drives for the same exact team, is right now in this race, all the way back. Where is he? In 32nd right now, and the uncharted driver is top 10. Troxel's also top 10, though, in that 62 machine, trying to work his way up in that wild card battle. We got Nathan Smith 11th, Hubert is 12th, and Andrew Miller in 13th. And all these guys kind of in that wild card run, trying to keep it close up to the front here in this race. Sam Medeo still trying to hold off Daniel Paulus Jr. right now. All these guys, the tires do kind of wear out at the same time, and much as I hate to make this comparison, it's a lot like a real-life next-gen race, though these guys still have more of an opportunity to pass than they will on Sunday, I can tell you that much. Logan Williams on the back bumper of Ludovic Shred. Your pick to win this race, so it's a great opportunity, keeping it 2 seconds off the race lead right now. Great run for Logan Williams here in this Brandt 400 right now.
Such good casual all-star race slander thrown in there. I'm so here for it. NASCAR, Steve Phelps, I know you don't care about any of our
we don't have a
opinions,
promoter's
please.
caution in this race. Just
Please. Please, though. Xfinity Series to North Wilkesboro 2026, please.
Yeah, this has kind of been an interesting way. The top couple of drivers. Oh, Duncan Ward, a big overshot of the corner there. The ERR cars have completely checked out here for the moment, which can be made up. That gap can be made up if you undercut them heading into the pits. And we know the 51 likes to be aggressive on pit road. I mean, Logan Williams is still up there. I think you got to start thinking about that if you're Appalachia, Duncan Ward. And, you know, tire fall off, really heavy here. Track position, though, really, really important. If you're, say, Thomas Troxel going for a third win of the season, you got to think about it. I think any of these drivers back here, you got to think about maybe being more aggressive than you normally would because, yes, tire fall off is tough. But you can't get by the guy in front of you, and you could potentially be a roadblock. It's always worth trying.
And I think we're seeing a little bit of that with Ludovic right now. I don't think she's quite at the pace as the two ERR cars ahead of her. Both Jack Haas and Kirsten Bell have kind of pulled away at this moment. And you got a whole line right behind that 90 or that 51 machine. Logan Williams just can't quite get a run. Haley Anderson Jr. making a move on Isaac Nichols right here. That's for the 8th position. And it looks like Anderson's going to be able to pull it off right here. We'll see. I think she's going to be able to hold that inside lane and get that move. And that's going to open the door for Thomas Troxel as well to make a move on Isaac Nichols. The other Parker Davis car right in this mix as well. And everyone from Andrew Miller on up has pulled right up to the 51, essentially. They're all in a line right there, looking for third. Andrew Miller trying to get on Hubert. Logan's trying. Logan's looking on Ludovic, but just can't quite get the momentum to work. Then it's a big gap down to where Brian Webb is all by himself there in 14th. Travis Crampton in 15th. Braden Perez, 16th. Laura Chung, Zayden Davidson, Avery Alford, and Angel Gutierrez. That is the top 20. And we look a little bit further back. Blaine is starting to move his way up. And that's something we would expect. A driver like Blaine Keys knows how to save his tires and utilize it as these tires start to wear out here. And that 32 machine up now to the 28th position after he was as far back as 33rd in this race. And Tanner Parton, though, and Alex Samatali, those are two guys who are both in the chase right now. Both very deep in the field, 38th and 40th. Samatali's behind his teammate Christian Master, and Master has not had a good season. Master does not even have a top 10 this season. Even Rogel Dorn has a top 10 this season. Master does not. That's
Oh, no.
Hey, Rogel's good. Rogel's good.
Oh, I know.
Unfortunately,
I know.
Turner has not been as good, but you just got to look at it right there. This could actually become a factor for Jack Haas here, as we may end up with lap traffic becoming a factor in this race before we get to the cycle of pit stops. That's going to make things very interesting, especially considering how difficult it is to pass, as these guys have shown right here. But it is still possible. Saul Anderson make that move there on Nichols. And that 92 may be one of the faster cars we got in this line right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, we talk about these short tracks. It's definitely tough to pass. Yes, you can definitely make more overtakes in, you know, real-life NASCAR. But, I mean, let's also be fair. It can be tricky to pass on these short tracks, especially when you're going to run into lap cars, especially when you're going to run into the 47 and the 74. You know, they somehow find their way to do this every race, which is tough. But Haas got to be careful here. That 2-second gap is really nice. That 2-second gap can go away very quickly if he's not careful. You don't want to cause an accident. You don't want to, you know, do what, you know, Travis Crampton did at Bristol and just plow through somebody. They're kind of starting to spin. I feel like somebody told Ludovic to pick the pace up because it looks like, oh, here we go. Here we go.
Sam Adio. I know you like to see that. Paulus, of course, 15th in the points coming into this race, and he would be top 5 in points if it weren't for Atlanta or Texas. The 2 races where he was going to finish top 10 and he blew up. And, you know, Sam Adio's had a couple moments like that this season as well. But Paulus getting that run to the inside, and it takes a while to make a pass here. Some grip there on that outside lane. We'll actually see if Pauls can make it work on San Benito. That 59 getting a run on the outside lane. As these tires wear out, the outside may actually be a better place to be. You don't have to arc it in as much if you're on the inside, and that's actually the case there for San Benito, able to get that run on the outside and keep that 54 behind him. But you got Jack House closing in here on Jesse Turner, and we've got cars all around this racetrack now, which if we end up with a green flag cycle of pit stops, which just does have a green flag feel to it, that's going to make things rather interesting in terms of that pit cycle. Logan Williams is still on the back bumper of Ladovic's right here. Still a great run for Logan Williams in this race, running in that 4th position, and he needs the points because he's only 12 points ahead of that cutoff. He wants to make sure he has a gap throughout these next 7 races after tonight and make the chase for the first time in his career. I know that is the accomplishment that he would want to have for this team, and so far he has been able to do a pretty decent job at keeping this thing up in the standings and getting these good runs. Only 4 top 10s and 1 top 5, but he's got a lot of good finishes just outside that top 10. And the same can be said for Alex Vitale for most of the season, but he's going to fall back in the points the way this one's going for him, that 61 machine. Parton's starting to move his way through the field. In the 97. Blaine Keys is starting to move his way through the field a little bit as well, up to 26th now. Just got around Bernardo de Oliveira behind Leonard Kochman right here. And this 32 going to try to salvage as much as he can, but this 32 may be one of the faster guys deeper in the field at this moment.
Yeah, no, Blaine Keys is definitely in a position where you want to take that undercut and jump as many of these cars as you can. He's obviously not going to go for the win, but he is in an interesting spot right now where if he falls outside of the top 10 because he doesn't have a win, he doesn't have a wild card. So he kind of has to go points racing here and take some aggressive swings. He can't just sit back and be like, oh, you know, points conservation. Like, he does need to take some shots here and potentially undercut. So pressure going to heat up a little bit here if he can't find victory lane. Haas is working his way through the lap cars. Kirsten Bell not closing in a ton. Oh, she's starting to close in.
Yeah.
Oh, not the 4. Oh, the 47, man.
I feel so bad for Jesse Turner. Jesse is oh, caution on the racetrack.
Oh, that's
going to change it. Oh, and it was Duncan Ward. I think that might have been a mechanical failure. Again, no, tire down on the 23.
Oh, no.
He blew an engine while leading at Texas. And now a tire down, and he got sent around at some point. And Duncan Ward, and this is the guy who's running the bubble as well, and now he's going to fall back on the wild card after tonight because he's not recovering from that one. And a perfect opportunity for these guys to come down the pit lane. Brian Webb is down right now. I didn't mean to jump these guys. And Jack Guy's going to lead us down the pit lane right here on lap 41. And this is going to make it interesting because if we get another caution, and say you get another caution like 40 laps from now, you absolutely want to be coming down the pit lane to get tires.
I mean, are we about to enter the Rockingham territory where the fuel window is going to be longer than the tires? Because
Shouldn't have to worry about the fuel window. Shouldn't have to worry about the fuel window. They'll have enough fuel. Will they have enough tires? That's the big question right there. And to your point, Rockingham was very much a strategy race on the tires as well. That a high tire fall-off racetrack. Of course, it's going to be 4 tires, either Goodyear's or Michelin's for these teams. Jack Haas is going to be the first one off easily. Kirsten Bell will be second easily. Ladovic will be third easily. Brian Webb in the 43. I don't know where he is right now because he's a lap down. He also had an issue. I think Brian Webb also had a tire go down. He's going to be a lap down. Logan Williams, Haley Anderson Jr., Thomas Tricel, Daniel Paulus, Andrew Miller, Nicholas Samedillo. Looks like Samedillo might have some rear end damage. I'm wondering if he might have been.
Oh, hold on. The 98's out.
Oh. You're right. Brampton is out of the race. They're 4 wide off the freaking pit lane. What the heck? You are right. That is not good for Travis Crampton, and we're going to have a lot of guys on the tail end that we're going to have to wave around right here as well, including Duncan Ward. So we'll see how that all ends up shaking out. But let's go ahead and get these guys sent to their right positions and get back to racing here from the North Wilkesboro Speedway. We're going to see here the number 23 of Duncan Ward has a tire go down in the worst possible spot. Well, I mean, anywhere around here is the worst possible spot. Just because it is a short track and there's not much room to maneuver around here. Right there, it goes down on him. Paulus is able to avoid it, go to the inside. Same with Haley Anderson Jr. Sam Neo gets held up. He's going to lose some spots right here because of it. And you got Troxel and Hubert also moving to the inside. But this is just the beginning of it, because we have quite a bit that ends up taking place in this whole exchange. So the 23's off. Brian Webb and Travis Crampton. That is why Brian Webb had come down the pit lane prior to the race leaders. And then Crampton getting hit pretty hard right there. But that is not what takes our points leader out of this race, which the way this race is going, considering that Ladovic's still top 5, I don't know if Crampton's going to be the points leader anymore once this is all said and done. I'm going to focus here with Duncan Ward one more time. You're going to see Blaine Keys in the 32 come into the frame right here and smash that 23 machine up into Bernardo de Oliveira, so damage on those cars, and an Alexander Rowe as well. Then, they're racing back to the line right here. Jack Haas wins the race back. They're all trying to slow up ahead of them, and they, do a good job in this section. But it's further back in the field, and this is what we can have happen at these short tracks sometimes, and it's a bit unfortunate that it does happen. But right in here, these guys jam up just a little bit, nothing too major. A little bit of damage on Troxel, but I don't think that's going to affect him. Nicholas Samadio, he slows down in time, but Travis Crampton does not. Gets right into Samadio, then Chung gets into him, and I love this track, but this is the flaw of this track right here. They jam up off the exit of turn 2, trying to come down the pit lane. Davidson with heavy damage, and that's going to knock out Laura Chung. That 20 machine blowing a piston. She's out of the race, and that's going to knock Crampton out as well. Alfred, Giacomo, all these guys with heavy damage. They slow down. They get caught a lap down. Now, we have decided to wave these guys around, so most everyone is going to be back on the lead lap except for drivers that had to repair significant damage. Those drivers are Matthew Hubert, Zayden Davison, and Bruno Giacomo. Those three will unfortunately be a lap down because of the damage they had to repair from this incident. Duncan Ward manages to stay on the lead lap, and he's going to restart either 12th or 13th in this exchange. But they're all led by Jack Haas in the 39. And, yeah, that is all that ensued right there. Quite a mess here, and that's what's going to happen here in North Wilkesboro. Let's go ahead and replay that one more time, get back to racing here in the Brandt 400.
Well, we're going to watch Duncan Ward here, and he's about to be dunking his way to pit road because he's just going to blow a tire in front of a bunch of cars here. If we're being completely honest, folks, this should have probably been a track blocking pileup. Brian Webb is just going to come pile driving in. Crampton, Gutierrez gets in the wall here. So some of these cars get some damage. Keys is going to put a big hit to that 23, and then he clips back to pit road. But then it's going to get a little bit ugly here. Jack Haas is going to kind of push the pace here. Luckily, this didn't turn into a huge accident. Ladovic Charette almost arc brake in the 93. Then not everybody else followed suit, and there was some arc braking activities here. This fine gentleman in the 98 and the 59. That's not good. That's not good. Laura Chung, Zayden Davidson, Travis Crampton, Sam Adio, and it's a stack up here in North Wilkesboro. Everybody swalching into their neighbor. Laura Chung is going to hold this field up because she's moving down pit road at about 5 miles an hour, and everybody else wants to get down pit road, and we have a bunch of cars who are about to get trapped a lap down.
And then the icing on the cake right there, Duncan Ward spinning Christian Master around. That's a very Duncan Ward thing to do.
It is.
Jack Haas is still the race leader, and most everyone will still remain on the lead lap, but they recycled most of them down. We'll see what he can do on the restart, and we'll see if they have to come back down again for tires. We'll see if we get another caution. It's going to be an interesting race here. Jack Haas still out front here in the Brandt 400 at North Wilkesboro Speedway. All right, we are back here at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. An extended caution after what we saw happen right there to wave a lot of these guys back on the lead lap. We decided to go ahead and do that so that we would not have too much of an issue with these guys being in the way. Though, as you saw, Troxel has a bit of damage. San Mateo has a bit of damage. Huber got caught a lap down. So did Davidson and Diacono. Those guys did not get waved around because they were part of the accident there. But, yeah, wild stuff. It's going to happen on the short track. It's going to be halfway. Everyone's got fresh tires. It's Jack Haas, Kirsten Bell, Ludovic Charette, Logan Williams, and Haley Anderson Jr., the top 5 on the restart. And an opportunity for Kirsten and Ludovic to find their way around Jack Haas, who has led every lap so far here in this Brandt 400 as we're coming to halfway here in North Wilkesboro.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a reset here. You get a little bit of a longer caution, which I think is going to help. You know, it takes a couple laps off the end of this race for the tires, but you still need to get a jump on it now here. And if you have the opportunity to get by somebody, you know, Thomas Troxel right there on the 54, Daniel Paulus, make your moves here when they
and
count.
Blaine's down.
No.
And
no.
Blaine is just simply down. I don't know if he got penalized or what. There is damage on that 32, but it's a lot like Martinsville, and he was already back in the field. That's going to send him a lap down, and such a tough break for Blaine Keys in the 32 machine. He has not had any luck on these short tracks. Bristol, Martinsville, this race here tonight, that has been the Achilles heel for that 32 team in Pacific Racing this season. Well, these guys are a lot closer to each other than they were before we had that caution. Kirsten Bell's actually trying here, and there goes Logan. He's going to have a shot at getting on Ludovic here for the 3rd position, and I think he's going to be able to get this one to stick this time around. The good news for Troxel and San Mateo, they're actually up to speed even with their damage, so it's a good thing to see that they're not affected by that. But Matt, you know, what if we get another caution in this race? You know, would you want to come back down the pit lane?
Yes, because tire fall off here is almost 4 seconds over a 50 lap run, and you are not going to be able. I know this track is hard to pass at, folks, but you are not going to be able to hold off the leaders, even on like a 5 lap dash to the finish if they have tires that are worth 3 seconds a lap. So, I mean, they're all settling in here. Shout out Haley Anderson. I mean, real quick, you gotta tip the cap here to the 92. She's putting in a fantastic day when Blaine Keys has not, which is even more impressive. But Jack Haas continues to he looks very in control here tonight. He's not pulling on them like he was on the opening run, which could make this interesting, but I mean, there's a lot, the way this could play out, I throw back to Rockingham. The fuel window was longer than the tire window. Could we see that tonight? We don't really know yet.
Well, the thing is, we did have an extended caution there, longer than we anticipated, so that may actually help these guys be able to make it without having to come back down again if this thing stays green. But Jack Haas has to be careful not to let his teammate get to the inside of him for this race lead. And Kirsten Bell, she wants that win too. She wants to be a part of this wild card race, and she doesn't care if it's her teammate that she knocks out. This 93 machine having a great night. This is the best run we've really seen out of Kirsten Bell all season long, and a great opportunity for her to get her first win of the season, her first win since that infamous day at Dover last year. I don't want to remind you of that. Move back through the field now. I would like to point out Duncan Ward actually benefited from all that happened right there. He was able to keep that thing 1 lap down and got back waved around because of it. And he now sits in the 12th position. Zayden Davidson is a lap down for being caught up in the accident. He was midway through all that. Bernardo de Oliveira in the 0 is 13th. Braden Perez, Leonard Kochmer. And you got Nicholas Cameron, his first ever Wawa Cup Series start, running 16th. Bryce Egan, who was almost the winner of this race a year ago. LJ Cimetto, Tanner Parton is 19th. And Darian Arsdorf rounds out the top 20 right now. A lot of guys benefiting from that complete shuffle that we had on the cooldown lap, but we still have all of our familiar faces except for Travis Crampton.
Blaine Keys.
And Blaine. Well, Blaine was never up front in this race. Travis Crampton, who was 16th there before that happened, out of the race, and so is Laura Chung in the 20. Had a piston go bad.
Oh.
And Avery Alford, so there are some guys that did not have as much of a fortunate run in that exchange as others. But still got a race going on here with a lot of our front runners up front. Of course, Hubert again with an issue, and he is lapped down because of the accident. Nicholas San Mateo in the 59 trying to get around Andrew Miller right here. That's for the 8th position. All these guys, Miller and Paulus especially, and Jack Haas are the 3 guys right there in that wild card race, all trying to move their way top 10 in points the issues we've seen tonight, they're doing a good job at finding themselves a little bit higher in the standings after this one is said and done, if they can finish where they're at.
You know, I'm not gonna, you know, talk about those drivers.
Just got around Troxel, and he's getting around Anderson right here. That 54 is looking quick again.
He is looking very quick here. He's found some. He's finding some pace here. As obviously, I know he's got a fast car and he's a great driver, but he's really finding some pace here in the 54 the past few weeks. I want to touch on this real quick here. Talk about those guys DNFing. Avery Alford came in the race -5 below the bubble. That's going to take a big hit when Bell and Haas are running 1-2. Blaine Keys is +5 above the line. Obviously, he's not in a terrible spot, but he's not in a great spot, again, with the 93 and the 39 1-2. And Laura Chung, saying that, like, all of a sudden she's in trouble, but 47 points above the cut line with Haas and Bell running 1-2, and you're about to lose 40 points to them tonight? Oh. It just got interesting for Laura Chung here down the stretch.
It did. This race is definitely going to make things interesting because you have all those guys who are up there in points, or a lot of those guys up there in points running up front, and the guys who are not running up front, well, they've had issues tonight and have taken themselves out, so no one's kind of running mid-pack. So it's, you know, all or nothing for these guys in the chase. They're finally getting around Anderson in this 92, but she's held on very strong here in the 92 machine and still looking for a solid finish here once this is all said and done. And Nicholas Samedeo there in the 59 trying to rebound. He is 9th right now. He's now 8th as he gets around Anderson. Andrew Miller is 7th, and Andrew Miller's had a great run in the last tire race that we had there at Rockingham. He got the race victory there. Had the right strategy in that race later in the going. That 92 is falling off, and she's just falling back in that 92 machine. Duncan Ward, Isaac Nichols trying to get around her right there. There's both the Parker Davis cars right around the top 10. Good run for GRT as a whole, except for Hubert, unfortunately. And then Drew Webb's had his start. Here we go. Lap traffic may very well play a factor in this race lead. Jack's got to be careful getting around Alexander Rowe in the 14 right here. Kirsten Bell is right there trying to close in. Jack Haas has still led every lap so far in this race. I think the last wire-to-wire win was in this race with Chase Buck back 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. And we may see the same with Jack, but he's got to be careful. Brian Webb as well, who had an issue when he came down the pit lane. He's fallen off pace a little bit, and Jesse Turner at the back of the field as well in the 47. Jack got around both those guys pretty well. All these guys actually got around lap cars pretty well, and I think they have much fresher tires at this point in the run.
Does Jack, just because funsies, because I like to count grand slams, does Jack have the fastest lap of the race by any chance, too?
Bernardo the
No, that goes to the Oliveira. That's an impressive lap, by the way. Over a 10th and a half up on the 93 for fastest lap of the race on a short track. GG Bernardo. But yeah, this battle up here for the lead. Daniel Paulus is, he's having a nice run. And the Oliveira's having a nice little second kick here to his season. It looked good to start, and then it got ugly, but he finds some pace here on some of these tracks, and I mean, you're seeing it again here tonight. You know, 13th isn't pretty, but you know, you can find your way back into a chase battle just by having some good runs. So I mean, you never know what could happen for him here. We know his car's fast, at least.
That is definitely the case, and run racing has been very fast all season. We've seen that with Laura Chung, and Bernardo finally got his first top 10 of the season last week at Kansas. But he's actually shown some pace past couple of weeks, and definitely excited to see that if you're Joe Rakowski. I don't know if he's really going to have a shot at the chase, but you know, definitely improving on his stuff and seeing what he can do going into the next year. How about Paulus in this 54? He might be the fastest car on the racetrack right now. And if he's got a bit of a different cycle on his tires than these guys, he might have an advantage. He may have a shot at going back-to-back. Maybe. He's still top 5 right now, and that's exactly where you want to be. If you're Danny Paulson, you're trying to make the chase. Troxel with a good run as well. Another one of those wild carders trying to make it in. Andrew Miller, a great run for him. Nicholas Samedeo's there, and then both the Parker Davis cars, and these are all guys that could benefit from a good run. And all 10 of these guys who are top 10 right now all have chase aspirations as well, so they are definitely taking advantage of the wackiness of this race, but Jack Haas has put himself in this position purely on pace. Won the pole last night and has not looked back since. And just think, it could have been Ladovic. If Ladovic had a bit more speed in that 39 last night, that's how important qualifying is in a place like this. This race is far from over, and Kirstenbell's still going to have a shot at possibly getting to her teammate here as this race runs out here. Next time by 21 laps to go in the Brandt 400 in North Wilkesboro.
21 to go, and who is the perfect roadblock to come up next? None other than the 74. It's perfectly on cue. But yeah, I mean, the top 4, now, they're going to get by Dorn. I think they'll get by Dorn fairly quickly here. This next little 3-piece coming up here of Master, Torres, and Fitzy is going to be kind of interesting because these cars have damage, and we saw at Kansas, Fitzy's not always the nicest to get around for lappers. I know that was more Ladovic, guys, but it's not over yet for Jack Haas, and boy, that would be heartbreaking to potentially go wire to wire and potentially choke it away late in the going here to the lappers. Williams slides high. This is it's getting intense here late in the going.
You want to know something? Ladovic Charette, the way this is going, will take the points lead going into the Coke 600 next week because of Travis Crampton's misfortune. So that's the first lead change that we've had in the points for quite some time here in the Wawa Cup Series. So that's what Ladovic's going for. She's still going for her first win on the calendar year here on the channel. She's got an opportunity if the lap cars become an issue right here. Though they can generally, if they have fresher tires, they can generally get around the lap cars pretty quick, and Jack is going to do so in Rogodor, and that'll open the door for everyone else behind him. Definitely a very interesting race that we have seen. And outside of that, whatever the heck we just had happen about 30 laps ago, it's actually been a pretty normal race, and Jack Haas and Kirstenbell have been the fastest cars in this thing. They're still right on each other. Paul's just trying to close back in here, and then it's all the way back. These top 5 have a clear advantage on the rest of the field. Troxel is in 6th, 5 seconds off. Andrew Miller, Nicholas Samadio right there. And then you got Nichols and Nathan Smith still in the top 10. Anderson is in 11th. Duncan Ward is 12th. Bernardo de Oliveira in 13th. Leonard Koshmer is 14th. Brain Perez is 15th right there. Tanner Pardon was someone who kind of benefited from that, although he's only 20th right now in that 97 machine. Not exactly where he wants to be in regards to the points. All 5 of these guys getting around Rogodorn, and now it's Fitzwater, Torres, and Master these guys are closing in on, and they are faster than these guys ahead of them. But we have not seen any change in position out of any of these top 4 since the restart. They've been all on a line this whole time. That's just how difficult it is to pass here, especially when these tires start to wear out. But the big factor is, will we get another caution? We'll get another mechanical issue like we saw with Duncan Ward that causes a yellow flag in this race, and we have a late race restart. That could really shake things up, especially if someone decides to take tires at the end.
The way this season's going, we should not be speaking about potentially speaking mechanical failures into existence, because then what'll happen is somebody on our screen's going to. But I mean, anything could happen. I don't know if anything's going to happen, but anything could happen.
Oh, Kirsten's going to go for it.
Here we go.
There's something that could happen, and a pass for the race lead here on lap 88. And that 93 of Kirstenbell saving up her tires just enough to have a shot here on her teammate for this race win at North Wilkesboro Speedway, and Kirstenbell will take it away from Jack Haas.
Oh!
Wow. And Ladovic's also going to get to the inside of the 39. These tires are really starting to give out now, and they gave out on Jack a little bit faster than he thought they would, and now he's losing pace. Logan Williams to the inside as well. Paul is trying to get an advantage on Williams. All 5 of these guys still run on each other, but it's Kirstenbell now out front here with 11 laps to go in the Brandt 400 in North Wilkesboro. It will not be a wire-to-wire win for Jack Haas here tonight, and you know what? You know what, Matt? I think that 51's got a chance.
Let's go. Warm up it's the Canadian Civil War here, heating up at the front of the field. That's a new commentator curse. You know, we always talk about the commentator curse of, something bad potentially happening, and then somebody's engine explodes. I can't remember a commentator curse of nothing might happen, but something could happen, and suddenly we get a battle for the
most natural thing. Just a natural pass for the race lead right there. That is something else. And at least for Jack, in terms of the points, it still should be a good run. Logan's going for second on
this
Ladovic.
95. This 95, I would not count him out yet here. The 93 doesn't look like she's quite as quick. She is getting stuck behind Fitzy. Wake up, Appalachian Motorsports. Here comes Logan Williams. And he has made
he's got it. He's got to run to the inside. They couldn't get around Fitzwater, and here comes Logan Williams now for the race lead at the end of this race. But Kirsten going to try to get the outside lane to work to her advantage. Will she have enough drive off to make the pass? She will. That was a tight one right there. And Logan's trying to push that 99 out of the way. Now Ledovic's getting out of the way there. Jack Haas is back to third. Here comes Paulus for fourth on the 51 machine. Logan's going to get to the outside of Fitzwater, but he's going to lose some time in this 93 here. Still has time, though, to get to Kirsten Bell. If he can keep the outside lane, it's not over yet. Philip Torres next in line for Kirsten Bell to get around. And Logan Williams trying to get his first win of the season. Fitzwater actually back to the inside of the 95. This is holding up Logan a lot more than he would have liked. And now Logan's best friend is Philip Torres in that 52 machine. As Logan is still yet to clear Fitzwater, he'll get the drive off here and finally clear the 99. Will Kirsten get around Philip? She will. That was an easy pass, and Kirsten Bell can thank Zachary Fitzwater for the help right there. But Logan to try to close back in. 5 laps to go this time by for Kirsten Bell here at North Wilkesboro Speedway for third. It's Daniel Paulus on Jack Haas. We got Isaac Nichols moving up to the field, up to 6th. Troxel's now 7th. Nathan Smith is in 8th. It's Sam Medeo and Miller 9th and 10th at the moment. Back up front, Kirsten Bell behind Christian Master. And now Logan has to get around Philip Torres, have a shot in the 93 again in this race. He had an opportunity, but Fitzwater got in the way, though he got that opportunity because of Fitzy. Paulus and Haas are still going after her for third place, and every point matters in this championship, especially with those guys in the wild card battle. Will Logan get around Philip here? He will. And now nothing in between Logan Williams and Kirsten Bell, coming to 3 laps to go here at the North Wilkesboro Speedway.
And if Logan Williams can have this 69 of Christian Master just close the door for an extra lap, it's going to be the opportunity for Williams. And we know if Logan can get to the inside of somebody, he has the ability to make some very aggressive moves here. Oh, he's got to follow this 93 here quickly. He cannot get caught behind the 8 to 69. Heading down into 1
Turner
and 2.
is down the pit lane.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
I don't know if
he's gonna... No, he couldn't
try the outside, but now he's going to be blocked by Master. And the next time by, it's going to be the white flag here at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. That was a good exit for Logan. He's going to have a shot. But will he have enough of an opportunity? Jared Martin up ahead. Here we go. White flag in the air at North Wilkesboro for Kirsten Bell and Evans Ross Racing. Logan Williams is right there trying to steal this on the last lap. Trying to close in on the 93. Has he saved his stuff up enough to have a shot at it going into turn 3? Will he try to dive it in? Just not enough grip in the tires to make it work. And Kirsten Bell will get her third win in the Wawa Cup Series here tonight at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. Logan Williams will finish second. Ledovic Charette, Daniel Paulus, Jack Haas, and how about Isaac Nichols driving up to those guys to finish 6th. Nathan Smith, Thomas Troxel, Nicholas Samedeo, and Andrew Miller, the top 10 here in the Brandt 400 in North Wilkesboro. Kirsten Bell gets the win for Evans Ross Racing, and our 13th different winner in 15 races so far this season here in the Wawa Cup Series.
Yeah, that certainly got interesting there at the end. Logan Williams got to be...
Logan's still going to be feeling all right after this one. He's going to
be feeling good, but if he gets by Fitzy, he wins the race. He definitely, judging by how fast he could close up to the back of the 93, I mean, that was the fastest car there at the end of the race. So, but I mean, nonetheless, great top 5. Great battle by the top 5. 4 GRT cars in the top 7. I go home happy with that. So,
and Ledovic Charette's going to be the new points leader. Daniel Paulus Jr. is going to move up in the points as well. So will Jack Haas. So will Andrew Miller. Top 10 for him. Those are all the guys right there. Bell, Haas, Miller, Paulus, all getting top 10s in this race. Of course, Bell getting the win. That's good for her in the wild card race, but I think this is going to put her back in the top 10 in points. It's going to be very interesting in the point standings once we get through with it there. Duncan Ward also, he dodged a bullet with what happened to him in this race after everything that happened afterwards, taking out Crampton, Chung, Alford. Definitely a very unique race right there because we had that one caution, 40 laps into the race. Everything got shuffled around. We still had our main front runners up front, and then the tires started giving out, and then we had different advantages for different drivers, and Kirsten Bell had the better tires at the end, and she's your race winner here at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. And Matt, I know you were probably looking at the race being like, this is probably not a good race, but then all the tire wear ended up happening at the end, and we got ourselves a fascinating one here at North Wilkesboro.
No, I'm honestly not part of the viewing audience who would say that, like, one guy dominates on a short track, like, turn the lights off. I mean, I find this track to be, more interesting even when somebody dominates than, say, a Bristol or something, because there's a lot of interesting things that go on here. It's tough to pass, but it's not impossible. As we saw at the end of the race here. And if you didn't get that caution during the pits or right before the pit cycle, because Duncan Ward, who knows? We could have seen these guys have to dice up lap traffic. But there was a lot that went on in this race. A lot of point implications coming out of here tonight. A lot. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but there's going to be some Constructors Championship implications too after this race with NS Ganassi dropping the ball tonight. So there's a lot that came out tonight.
They're just NS racing over here. I know you're stock car World Cup minded.
Oh,
just
I'm
NS
sorry, guys.
Racing.
I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I wish.
Hey, at least it's not as bad as calling it Gatorade Victory Lane. It's Body Armor Victory Lane, and you know that.
True.
Kirsten Bell gets it done here at North Wilkesboro Speedway, and she did that on pace as well, getting around her teammate Jack Haas. And we knew this was going to be a tire conservation race, and it played out on the racetrack as well, which made it very interesting. A fun race here at North Wilkesboro Speedway. And, hey, Nathan's doing the Little 250 next Thursday. We're excited for that. I got to convince them to bring back the shootout here with those cars. Do you think that's a good idea?
Who are we going to pay tribute to with this shootout? Just do the shootout, or are we going to pay tribute to somebody? Yo, when she wins the her Sprint Series championship in only half the starts, I agree.
Kirsten Bell, the race winner here at North Wilkesboro Speedway, and she's going to move up in the points. So will Logan Williams, and Ladovic are going to be the new points leader. Hey, next week, it's the Coke 600.
Yeah, next week's
going to be a lot of fun. I think we're going to see a lot of the same familiar faces up front in that one. 100 laps at Charlotte. It's a long one there when we head to the Coke 600, but it's a very fun race, and we always see the best drivers come out to play, just like Josh Petty finishing 6th last year. What a great race the Coke 600 is, and it's going to be a lot of fun in all seriousness next Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, right before the Indianapolis 250. Of course, next Saturday at noon Eastern Time for that race. Hey, tomorrow we got the first day of qualifications from Indianapolis for the Indy 250, and then Sunday it's the last 9 and Fast 9 shootouts. Going to be a lot of fun this weekend, qualifying for the big race next Saturday at noon Eastern Time. Congratulations to Kirsten Bell for her 3rd career win in the Wawa Cup Series. Here are the points for the Wawa Cup Series after 15 races, and on behalf of Matt Tuck, I will see you guys later.